Up close and personal, you're going to have an opportunity to meet the founder and the person that's responsible for all of this that's going on right now in Successful Thinker. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I would like to introduce to all my friend, Mr. Jim Bellacera.
Thank you, Michael. I thought I would talk about my book and some of the things in the book that I put together. And I've been, by the way, just so you know, that the book that I'm referring to is called Within the Millionaire Mind, and I've been giving it away for 3 years. So anybody can download it for free, just so you know. But, you know, as I've been an entrepreneur literally my entire adult life, with the exception of the year, my 18th birthday through my 19th birthday. But from then, I've been self-employed, so I'm unemployable. So does anybody have that feeling of, you know what, no one can pay me enough? Would you agree? So, you know, I learned a lot of things over the last 27 years. And Successful Thinkers was not just kind of like a flash of an idea that, you know, one day I'm going to, you know, do this thing called Successful Thinkers. It was a culmination of 27 years of being in the people industry and building relationships and building businesses and building armies. Armies of people that have, you know, that caught a vision and then went out and continued that vision without me. And after 27 years of working in the people industry, one of the things I discovered about people, there's interesting people, to say it nicely, people I wouldn't want to do business with, and people that I want to do business with. And January of 2009, I made, you know, that New Year's resolution? You all make those resolutions, right? And I said, and I verbalized it to everybody I know, anybody that was in talking distance. I want to do business with people that put people first. And money is a byproduct of the people they do business with. Because I spent 27 years doing business with people that look at you as a dollar sign. And how much they can squeeze out of you. In fact, I had a conversation with a guy not too long ago, and he talked about exactly that. He goes, well, the reason we charge what we charge is because we got to squeeze everything out of them before, you know, they leave. And he didn't realize who he was talking to. Because after spending all those years of dealing with those people and being in the back rooms and hearing these conversations, I wanted this. This is what I wanted. I wanted to be able to meet people for who they are and what they do and what their passion is. And I mean, everybody knows Michael, and we all know his passion. It's just off the charts, which is why we're all here today. And so over the years, you know, I wanted to reinvent myself and do something that would be not just a way to make money, but to create a legacy. In fact, somebody, I don't know if somebody told me to read this article, or I just picked it up and I read it, but it talked about, in the first half of our life, it talks about what our aspirations are when we're younger, and a lot of us are focused on making money and buying homes and developing a family and all those things. And then in the second half of our life, we want to do something productive, something meaningful, something that has an impact on the lives of other people. And I have to tell you honestly that I don't know if it was my parents, I don't know if it was the influence of literally thousands and thousands and thousands of audio CDs and cassette tapes. Yes, I'm old. That talked about doing good, doing right, and putting people first. But I lived in this world where I have people that talk the talk but don't walk the walk. And I've built businesses where I put the time in, I put the money in, and I built this whole thing and made people millions and millions. And when I say millions, I'm not talking $1 million. I'm not talking 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 10 million. Made people a lot of money. But when I was done making money, they spit me out. And whether you were an employee for somebody, or you helped them make money, or you helped start their company, or you were there in the beginning, when they were done, they just kind of spit you out. Am I right? And because I was involved in every entity I was involved in, it was one organization, one company. And yet, as I met people that came into this organization, or these organizations, these companies, they were in all different walks of life like you. I mean, there's so many businesses represented here, it's crazy. No, actually, it's exciting. It's the whole purpose for this thing. But when I was involved in these purposes, these companies, these organizations, the personal development, the community, the relationships, the building the family, it was only inside that environment. And when I saw the opportunity to open up this thing called Successful Thinkers, and first of all, you need to know that it wasn't my idea, and I'll tell you why I know it was not my idea. Because when I typed the word Successful Thinkers in GoDaddy.com, that URL was available. God had parked that URL for me because he knew I had a purpose and I could take something out beyond an organization, beyond a human being. And so then everything, Successful Thinkers this, Successful Thinkers that, they're all available. So I'm just buying them all. And what was really came down to was the opportunity to meet people that have a desire, an ambition, a dream, want to have a purpose. And I've been to the chambers, and I've been to the BNIs and the tips, and I want you to know, those had an impact on my life because I learned from those experiences, and I met people like me. I just didn't have the money to come back. So I was kind of bummed. And so when the idea of Successful Thinkers came to me, it was to be free. Because if I couldn't go back, that means a lot of other people couldn't go back. And when each one of these organizations, they said, we're going to isolate every category. You're a real estate agent, you're a mortgage broker, you're a web designer, you're whatever. And you won't have any competition. And I got to tell you something. I don't care if you're a great real estate agent, but if you can't build a relationship with me, I'm not going to buy a house through you. And if there's 3 real estate agents, you know who I'm going to go do business with? The one I know, like, and trust. The one that I trust that I could do business with. And that was important to me. And so when people ask me the question, why do you let other people in that are in the same category? I don't like that. And you know what I say? May the best man or woman win. Because you're going to do business with the one you like. The one that leaves an impression on you. The one that makes you feel like you're somebody when they leave you. And I can tell you story after story after story of my entire life, my adult life that is, of the people that I've done business with, were never the one that closed me. They're the one I met months ago, years ago. And I can tell you specifically what happened when I met them 15 years before, 5 years before, 10 years before, and that's why I chased them down. Because they left an impression on my life. If it was just, hey, I felt good when I left them, you know what I mean? And there's a purpose to all this that I'm sharing here with you, because we're all entrepreneurs. And some of us have never been taught how to be an entrepreneur. We've never been taught how to network. We've never been taught how to create a true relationship that converts to business. The money that I've made from the different things that I've been blessed to do did not happen because I just met somebody who was cool. I met them, they left an impression on me, and I'm not blessed with Michael's ability to have, this guy has the ability to a photographic memory. I don't have that. But you know what I do have? I have an impressionable memory. And what an impressionable memory is somebody did something or said something or made me feel like a human being. There was a year, it's not the first time, but there was a year that we were at the bottom. Have you ever experienced what the bottom's like? And the doggone trap door is still open? And I was taught to go out and dream build. And I drove into a community that was well established called Los Lagos. It was just an amazing establishment. Very, very wealthy people lived in there. And then this new one had opened up, a gated community, man. And I actually knew the gentleman that started the community, and his name was Tony Mussolino. It's called Los Lagos. And the year that I was doing this intensive dream building, was I would say one of the worst years of my life financially. We lost everything. Everything. Barely had our car, but we lost the homes. By the way, I owned my home cash outright, and I lost that house. That's how bad it was. And I remember driving through this community, and I remember pulling to the driveway, and this is a really cool mansion, and I got to go inside. You ever see a house and you just, I just want to go inside, but it's kind of be nonchalant. No one's going to know who I really am. Broken poor. Anyway, but poor is a state of mind, so no, obviously I wasn't poor. I was just broke. Anyway, and I walked into this house, and there was these three real estate agents, and then people that were just kind of meandering around looking and just really enjoying the view of the house. It was pretty cool. And they, of course, came up to me and introduced themselves to me. And the point I'm trying to make is, I don't know if they knew that I wore clip-on ties, and I drove a car that was about empty on gas, and that I had no money in my pocket, and that I couldn't afford to pay for the light bulb that was in that house. One light bulb. But they treated me as if I could afford that house. They treated me as if I was a decent human being that had the ability. And, I couldn't wait to get away from them, to be honest with you, because they were so busy being nice to me that they didn't know that I could not do anything for them. But what they were doing for me was the most important thing they could do. And when I left them, it was 2 years later, I purchased a piece of property in that subdivision. And then a year later, or a year and a half later, our dream home was built. Every inch of it was designed by me. Talked about it, planned it, drew it out. And we lived there for 7 or 8 or 9 years. I'm not sure exactly how many years. And it was an awesome, awesome, awesome experience. And things happened, and decisions were made that didn't work out long term, and we had to move. And we, got a smaller house because it was more affordable. Yeah, y'all relate to that? It's cheaper to have, less air conditioners. And that was just an excuse. I couldn't pay for the 4 that we had in the other house. The water bill alone at the time was like over $1,000 a month. Yeah, it was just an acre and a half of property, but it was all manicured, so all the plants and all that stuff. And I'm sharing this with you for 2 reasons. One, a man or woman with a dream, in most cases, will start by themselves. They'll start with their own vision. And depending on how serious you are and how committed you are to that dream will determine whether you stick to it and you make it happen. And if you're waiting for somebody to help you, I'm going to tell you something. Ain't nobody going to make your dream come true. No one. And I'm going to tell you something else. Nobody can steal your dream. You can only give it away. And no matter how hard you have to fight for your dream, I've heard it say 1,000,000 times, and I stand here before you to tell you that absolutely, for sure, without hesitation, that the prize is worth the price. And 29 years ago, I met a prize. And because I was young and dumb and immature and stupid, I almost lost that prize. My wife, today. And I asked her to come today because I felt it was important. Because, it's not just because behind every successful man is a successful woman, or beside every successful man is a successful woman, but everybody knows that through the eyes of their spouse, the truth will be told. And I can't stand before you and tell you that I'm this great guy, or that I'm committed to my goals, that I'm going to do whatever it takes, and then go in another room and then say, I can't wait till I do some damage to some other people, or I squeeze everything out of them that I can possibly squeeze. Because my wife knows the truth. She knows what I say behind closed doors. After all, we've lived behind closed doors for 29 years. So I'd like to do, if it's okay with you all, is I'd like to introduce you to my wife, Denise Bellacera. She was ready to grab the mic. She's used to speaking, by the way. But I want you to know something. Denise and I were born servers. You need to know that. For the 29 years that we've been married, we have served organizations and businesses and communities. And since we've been at the church that we're at, my wife has been on the women's ministry and served that ministry for free the entire time. And we've been there 10 years.